I receive a lot of questions through emails and one-on-one consultations about very specific situations that you might be confused about. Whether it's in a relationship, you just started dating, or you just met someone. So I want to generalize it and help anyone who is generally confused about a woman. However, if you have a very specific situation, I can help you find clarity. I can help you actually understand the situation and maybe see it in a different perspective as to why a woman feels a certain way or is acting a certain way. So, I have my own personal one on one consultations. They're private. I don't talk about them to anyone. I only get notes about what men are confused about. So if you go to the description, I have my consultations there and I can help you. But for this video, I want to be very general, okay? First of all, if you are confused in a relationship, and I think this goes for men and women, I think it's safe to say you can step back, okay? When you start really trying so hard in a relationship, it can be kind of a backwards effect. You're trying so hard to try to understand this person when you are not them. So I think stepping back is a form of maturity. Give them the space to realize what they feel and give yourself the space to realize what you feel. Now, this might not go for every single situation. If you are married, sometimes it's best to try. Try to engage with a solution, try to create more intimacy or find something that you're missing. But when it comes to dating, specifically when you're just dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, or you just met each other, you had a couple dates, it's safe to walk away. Seriously, it's safe to walk away. There's nothing tying you down to try to figure it out right then and there. And I know it might seem like, oh, well, I don't want to seem like I'm giving up. I don't want to seem like I'm just some guy who's not interested in her or vice versa. When you walk away, you are respected. Why? Because you are mature enough to know when to walk away. It can be very childish to constantly try to solve a problem that is not being solved. It takes two people to genuinely come together and find a solution, to figure out why you're having a problem, figure out why you feel this way or how you can fix how they feel. You can't always fix how someone feels. The term time heals is pretty relevant in this scenario because when you give yourself and someone else time to actually think about how they feel, you can make decisions based off of that. But if you are consumed in how someone else feels, especially a woman, if you are consumed in how she feels, you are obsessing over her. That is a form of obsession. That is a form of control. You're trying to control the situation. And I know you might think that it's caring, you are trying to figure it out, but you're being obsessive, you're being controlling because you want some outcome out of it when the woman can't even make a decision. Now, this is all general, right? Everyone has their own specific situations. Everyone has their own experience. But I'm telling you right now, if you are experiencing any sort of problem or you're confused, specifically if you're confused, walk away. Please walk away. Walk away. You would respect yourself more. Anyone who is involved in that will respect you more for walking away. It takes a lot of courage and strength to walk away because being in a relationship or thinking you want a relationship, you think that it takes it all. You have to use it all your energy, all your love, all your time, everything to make it work. When the reality is sometimes you just need to walk away. There's no hidden rules in the agenda of love, in the agenda of being with someone. You can go back together. You can come back together and have some concise realization. You can talk about how you feel when you have the time to actually figure it out. If you're constantly thinking about how someone else feels, you're not thinking about how you feel. At the end of the day, you probably don't even want to be with this person. So give yourself the time and space to actually think about that. And same for the other person. If you're confused about how someone feels about you, walk away. Walk away. Because you will figure it out when you walk away. They will figure it out when you walk away. They'll realize, oh my gosh, this person is able to walk away from me. This person is actually capable of taking themselves out of this situation and making it mutual. Because that's what it becomes. It becomes mutual. It's not some offense, defense. It's not fighting. There's no problem when you're walking away. And it's not avoidant either. Avoidant would be basically leaving things unsaid. It would be having no closure when you walk away. When you walk away, it should have a form of maturity and a form of an explanation. Why are you doing it, right? You should be able to explain to that person why you're walking away. Hey, I'm kind of confused right now. I'm not sure how you feel. I'm honestly not even sure how I feel. So I think that we need to create some space so that we can really think about how we feel, and then we can talk about that afterwards. Emotional intelligence. I've made so many videos on how women love emotional intelligence. Now, I've also made videos about emotionally unavailable men, right? But that's not a form of maturity. When a man is emotionally intelligent, he knows when to walk away, okay? And whether she's confused about you or not, she knows that you're mature enough to walk away. So I received so many emails and questions about very specific situations. It's almost like uncanny how many kinds of situations there are in this world where the men are just confused. They're trying to figure it out. I mean, obviously, if they're contacting me about questions or even how a woman is acting, just trying to get a glimpse of understanding a woman. And it's, respect that you're trying to understand a woman. But I just think being confused in general is just a form of really not understanding yourself. And understanding yourself is being able to walk away and have those feelings to yourself. You can express them all you want to another person, but if you don't genuinely know how you feel, what good comes from that in a relationship when you don't know how you feel and when a woman doesn't know how they feel? You're basically mirroring a woman when you are trying so hard to understand her. Sometimes walking away is the best way you can understand a woman. You want to know why? Because now it's left for her to have her own realizations. Even if you already know how you feel. Now, I know this is a bunch of, oh, I feel this, I feel that, yabba, yabba, yabba. If you genuinely need help with a relationship or a situation that you're going through, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Being confused as a man is very common. Very common. Because women, we play games, we are indecisive, we are full of emotion. We can feel this way one day and then feel totally different another day. So I think in order to save yourself that heartbreak and in order to save yourself from exerting your energy and how you feel toward this woman, walk away. It is the most safe way to actually save a relationship. I think doing too much and pouring too much into a person leaves you empty. You can't pour into a person if you're not pouring into yourself. But we know that. We know that. That's an unspoken rule. You should always be pouring into yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that you can pour into others. Act out of love, not for love. We all want love in this life. We all want someone to grow old with. And if you don't, then you don't. I mean, this video is obviously not for you. But if you are looking for someone to grow old with, how do you expect to go on for 80 years with someone and not give them the time of day to just, think about it, feel how they want to feel, have your realization, have their realization? Chances are, most of the people that I have talked to in a private consultation are very young. Very young. I would say between the ages of 18, 35, we're young. So there's no rules here. Like, you should be able to walk away from someone and have this mutual agreement that, okay, I care about you, you care about me. We don't need to sit here and try to revive something that is very hard to understand for both of us. I think it's healthy to be able to walk away, man or woman. A lot of women tend to walk away nowadays. I think women are very keen to independence, and it takes a very independent person, not a dependent person, to walk away, to understand, hey, I actually need to think about how I feel. So I'm going to go do that. Sometimes it comes off as, oh, I don't care how you feel, so I'm going to go work on how I feel. And this is where you start understanding if this person's even right for you, right? Whatever they decide to do after walking away is how they feel. It's how they feel about you, the situation. And I think that's very healthy to figure it out this way. Time heals. Time is the only way to really figure it out. So yes, women respect you way more when you walk away. You would respect yourself more when you walk away. Just as an example, let's say you're in a relationship and you are trying to figure yourselves out. You're in your 20s, and in this age, we're trying to figure ourselves out, okay? In your 20s, you're trying to figure out your career. What do you like to do? What drives you? Who are you, as a core of a person? I mean, you're always going to figure yourself out. You're always going to find something new that you like throughout your life. But your 20s is like, it's your first time in creative mode. It's your first time really out there in the world. You're making mistakes. You are failing at things. You're succeeding in things. There's so much is happening all at once, and you're trying to retain it. You're trying to understand it. So juggling a relationship in that, it's a lot of work. It really is. So let's say you are in a relationship in your 20s and you're going on for years. You're in a years-long relationship, 5 years plus, right? You're in that relationship. You put so much work and effort and love and giving and forgiveness and all of the above. You're giving and receiving, both of you. You're both pouring into each other. At the end of it, you break up. When you break up and you didn't have enough space to really be your individual self, especially in the keen years of figuring out your character, we don't really develop that pure, strong character until we're in our 30s. That's what I believe. Our 20s is for figuring it out. Who am I? How am I reacting to things? What is my go-to for failure, succeeding, and all of the above, whatever. If you break up in a relationship and you are empty, that is worse than to have a break and to figure out, what, I don't think we're meant for each other. Save yourself the heartbreak. Save yourself that energy that is very hard to develop back. And there's also a lot of men who have failed relationships. Not failed, but their relationships have failed. They're not together anymore. And they're left hopeless, empty. They don't know how to love another person. And same for women. It's very hard to pour back into yourself when you have poured completely everything into another person. So this is when I end the video. If you have any specific situations or problems or anything that you really want my perspective on, I will give it to you. I will give you clarity. I will give you some sort of answer that, maybe your girlfriend or someone else wouldn't be honest about. And I think it would help you have a full picture moments instead of just wondering why by yourself all the time. Sometimes you just need a female perspective. And I'm not saying I'm completely right. I'm not saying I'm completely wrong. Sometimes you just need another person's perspective and a female's perspective to have a full picture moment with how your situation looks and if you're making the right moves, the wrong moves. Just how a woman looks at it in general is important. If you want to be with a woman for the rest of your life, I think it's important to know how a woman thinks. And so starting off with just how I think can help you generate some sort of idea of how another woman might be thinking, whether it's good or bad. I could tell you right now, there's a lot of toxic women out there, but there's a lot of women out there that are just young and confused. And I think it's safe to give them the space to realize that they are confused. And same for yourself. So walking away is very healthy and it's a form of maturity. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you next time.